Oh, baby, fall is here, and Mornings with Rooster is there for you 24/7. This is the first podcast released in the 2018. I almost said 2019. That's how excited I am to get this effing year over with. For the 2018 fall podcast release of Mornings with Rooster. I'm your host, James Gribben. It's going to be a spooktacular episode. If you guys are a Fortune 500, maybe. If you're a Fortune 400, I will consider talking to you. But looking for 500s, I am currently accepting applications to be your sponsor. So consider yourself lucky if I reply to your emails, because I'm starting to get a bunch of people. And if you guys are listening and you haven't subscribed and or rated my podcast, I would literally do anything to repay the favor of you logging on to your computer or logging on to your phone, go into the podcast app, whatever it is. We're on iTunes. We're trying to get on Spotify. I'll probably be on it by the end of the month. That's the kind of clout I have in the podcast community now. We're on Google Play, YouTube, Spreaker. What else? I'm looking at Kyle, my new intern. He doesn't know. We'll figure it out. Overcast, that's another one of them. And then SoundCloud, obviously. Shout out to my homies over at SoundCloud. This week's guest is the super funny, super smart, super interesting James Dugan. We had a lot of fun talking about a lot of movies, and then we finally got off our little fanboy train and dived into other stuff, and it got a little philosophical, I guess. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, James Dugan.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars. It's not A New Hope. It was just Star Wars.
It was just Star Wars until they re-released it.
Exactly.
And then it became Episode 4, A New Hope.
Isn't that weird?
I guess so. Yeah.
Episode 4, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Well, because there's do you like Star Wars?
I do.
Okay, cool. We finally have agreed on something.
We have agreed on something. I don't know if I like it anymore as a whole, because I like only 4 of the movies out of the, 9? So can I be a Star Wars fan?
Definitely.
So the original
you
3?
definitely can still be a Star Wars fan.
Okay. Original 3 and then Rogue One.
You don't like Force Awakens or Last Jedi?
James, I was ready to walk out of Force Awakens right before Han Solo died, because he says, Chewie, I'll be back. I was like, they've never been apart the whole freaking series. I know they're about to kill him. I see it coming, and then he dies.
Well, they were apart while Han was frozen in carbonite.
But he never, very true.
And at which point he said, take care of the princess.
Very true. I know. I had to drop that line. But, it wasn't a choice. I don't know. I just felt like, I'll be right back. I don't know.
Like you knew he was going to die then?
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't feel right. And then so I was ready to walk out then, because I think they didn't earn it to kill him in the first one.
Okay.
I would have waited for the second one. And then the second one I was ready to walk out within 5 minutes. When he prank calls the general.
Really?
The Family Guy moment. I was like, wait, am I watching Family Guy or am I watching Star Wars?
Oh man,
I need to talk to James Dugan. Yeah, you're talking to James Dugan. No. I need to talk to James Dugan. What? It's me.
I actually really liked that because I felt like the prequels. So there is no point in my life that I don't have Star Wars. Far back as I go, I remember the first time that I watched Return of the Jedi, but I do not remember the first time that I watched Star Wars. It's just always been a thing for me.
Sure.
And when the prequels came out, that was the first time that I was in 6th grade when Episode 1 came out. So then I would have been 6th grade, 8th grade. No, 6th grade, freshman year, and then my senior year for the other ones. But that was the first time that I was like, oh, I think that these are bad movies. It was like the first time that as a person I had an opinion about a movie, and I was like, oh, I don't think these are very good. But these new ones, what I liked about that prank calling moment, and since it came right at the beginning, is I was like, oh, this one's going to be fun. You know, the prequels were so serious and so like laden with prophecy and like meaning and
you want to know about politics?
Exactly,
in Star Wars
yeah.
No, I don't.
Whereas the originals, it's like Han Solo is fun and Chewie is fun, and even the Ewoks are fun.
Yeah,
and that's why I liked having that moment where it was just like, hey, we're not going to take this one too seriously,
right?
And I also acknowledge. So, did you make it through Last Jedi?
I did. I was with my roommate Susie, and I looked at her. I was like, "Do you want to get out of here?" And she was like, "No." I was like, "Oh, okay. It's just me, me, and then a few other friends. Thank God, so I don't feel like that kind of prick that I've talked to since watching it." But yeah, it was just one thing after another, heartbreak after heartbreak in that movie. Like the whole James Bond casino planet, and then they break out the huge Greyhound alien dogs.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, what is happening here? And then the lady who looked like she was from like Santa Fe, New Mexico, the general with like the purple hair. And
oh, yeah. Hang on. I'll think of her name. Hondo?
Who was the actress?
It's Laura Linney.
That's right.
I can't think of what her name is right now.
But yeah, that whole
shameful
turn of events, and then the ship flying into the other ship, and
you didn't like them going to light speed and blasting those other ships apart.
Let me get this straight. You don't like them.
You didn't like the best shot of the whole movie.
Yeah, that.
Well, then I feel as if there is no point in us continuing this conversation.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm not going to sway you.
No, I don't think either one of us is going to sway. And then the whole Luke Skywalker not even being there and then just dying alone, and it was like, oh yeah, the Force isn't that big of a deal.
Exactly.
But the rest of the movies have made it a big deal. You can't just like, fuck it.
No, but that's the whole point. That's like
I know that's the point.
You've got, but Rogue One even set that up, where it's like these aren't Force users. There are other people in the galaxy that can be just as important.
But the Force is important in their universe. They just don't. They're not tapped into it. It's like
yes.
But to make a mockery of it when you are the guy who's spent your entire life like drinking, like milking Jim Henson dolls on your private island.
He's a farm boy. Of course he drinks milk from the teat.
That's a hard blue milk. He gives that face. I was like, come on.
Oh, no, so what I loved about Last Jedi is the way that they made it like Rey, her parents are no one important. She is nobody.
I like that.
And the Force does not belong to the Skywalker family.
Sure.
The Force is like everywhere, and it is within everybody. And they still kind of honor that there are different degrees to it.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into midichlorians, but you know they do talk about there is like a definite like Rey is very powerful with it for whatever reason. But I think that a lot of issues with Star Wars lately are that they are being presented to us incomplete. That people, with the original trilogy, when it came out, first of all, there wasn't the forum of the internet for everybody to talk about it. You know, you kind of just like saw it and accepted it for what it was. You didn't have a million fanboys to bounce your fan theories off of.
Yeah.
And what we have now is an incomplete story that they are working on completing. But so many of the complaints that I hear, and you haven't brought this one up yet, which so I'm not putting this one on you.
Sure.
Is the idea that like, oh, well, who's Snoke? Who's this Snoke guy?
Yeah.
What we don't even find out about him, and now he's already dead. Spoiler alert.
Sure.
Don't listen. We're probably going to talk about Star Wars a lot, so if you haven't seen it and you're planning on seeing it.
I got my little Falcon right there.
Yeah, with his cowboy hat.
Yeah.
But if you like think about the original trilogy and think about everything that we knew from the original trilogy, from just those movies.
Yeah.
You do not know how Darth Vader got in the suit. You do not know. You don't know what Boba Fett's name is. You don't know what the Emperor's name is. You don't know where the Emperor came from. You don't know any of that stuff. And we were fine with it back then.
Yeah.
But now, all of a sudden, we're demanding these answers because we have the benefit of the expanded universe, which filled in so many gaps for us that we didn't even know that we felt.
They say Boba Fett in the movie.
Do they? Or do they just
Boba
say
Fett? Boba Fett where?
Boba Fett
Bang.
where? You're right, yeah.
But yeah, it's not until the third one. Because we get a glimpse of him in the second one, and then he grabs Han, he takes him off on Slave One. But yeah, you're just like, wow, that guy was cool.
Was he? What did he do?
He just looked cool.
He did nothing cool.
It's like high school guys, like, wow, that guy's cool. What does he do that's cool? I don't know, but he's freaking cool.
He did nothing that was cool. But I remember as a kid being like, Boba Fett's the fucking man. He's the coolest guy in the galaxy.
He hits his head. Remember that? Oh no, is that
a stormtrooper hits his head?
Oh, Stormtrooper, and then Princess Leia when she's in the bounty hunter costume. Remember, she bumps her head.
She like hits the wind chimes. Or does she?
No. She like literally hit. Maybe it's either Boba Fett or her. One of them. My dad pointed it out to me when we watched it. They're walking and they hit their head on like the ceiling.
Because there is in New Hope, there is a moment when a bunch of stormtroopers are walking into a room, and one of them. But it's different than that one.
It's different. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll see if I can find it. But also, side note.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this until I saw it was like Reddit or YouTube, but. I can't believe Princess Leia loses her accent in the first one. I'm sure you know about that, but like, as a kid, I just it went over me. But then you go back to like, yeah, why she has this like transatlantic accent, and then it's just like Valley Girl. What the fuck?
They really, the dialect coach was not on Carrie Fisher at all. Whatever dialect coach they could afford.
Sure, wild. But going back to the Snoke thing, I think he's going to be back, right?
You think so?
So these two movies have proven me wrong on every theory and like what I wanted it or thought they were going to be. But prove me if I'm wrong. But like, there's no bad guy left, right? It's just like either Adam Driver is going to be a little bit worse and just stay bad, or he's going to come to the light side. They don't really seem to care about that transition, I'm assuming. So then you're left with a third movie with do you introduce a new villain? Because it's still like a kid's movie. You need a good guy and you need a bad guy. And he's got to come to the good side or just continue to be kind of bad, right?
Who was the bad guy in New Hope?
It was, what's his face? Peter Cushing.
Yeah, it was Tarkin.
Yeah.
And
Vader.
Yeah, but Vader...
lapdog.
Yeah, he was like a henchman
in
that first one, where Tarkin was even like, stop what you're doing, Vader, and like talking down to him.
Vader, release him.
Yeah, enough, Vader. It wasn't until Empire that Vader was the ultimate bad guy. But so I don't know. I mean, like, because you still got General Hux, who is, I think, losing it and is primed to face off against Kylo. But also I think that's kind of an interesting place to be in Star Wars, where right now you don't have the definitive bad guy. You have two characters that are both on the verge of being either good or bad. I think it's really cool. It's very cool what Rian Johnson did with Last Jedi, especially knowing, which I assume he had to know, what people say on the internet and like what all of their theories were, for him to just be like, you were all wrong.
Sure.
It doesn't matter at all.
Is that good though?
I liked that.
It seems like he's like doing it like tongue in cheek, like giving the side glance. I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you like? We all love this, and a lot of people didn't like Last Jedi. Like,
sure.
A lot of like real hardcore fans are just like, dude, like I did not like. The guy's like a hipster Vader. He doesn't need to wear a mask, but he wears one. And then they're like, take off that ridiculous thing. I'm like, I want to be invested in this movie and not just like view it as like a Disney ride. So with no villain, like for the third one, and then a guy who I'm not like, oh, is he going to blow up a planet like at least Tarkin did or something? Is just this kid. This angry kid. That's all we're left with.
I think that's kind of fun. I think it's kind of fun.
It's like a Maze Runner. Even though I haven't seen it, it feels
Me
like
neither.
it feels like a teen movie that if it didn't have the Star Wars like universe, if it was in a different universe with it wasn't Skywalker, it was Gutierrez or Johnson last names, like I would be like, fuck this movie.
All of Star Wars is for kids. Star Wars is kids' movies. We were just kids when we were introduced to it.
True, but like my dad, like our parents, they were, I don't know, late teens, early 20s. Like I don't know. And like Han Solo does joke in the first one. He's like, oh, we're fine here. How are you? Like that kind of, I don't know. It's like a very fine line, I guess, between that and then prank calling in general.
Even though that's exactly what Han was doing in that moment.
Yeah, he was just, he was improvising. He didn't know what to do. I don't know.
Oh. I also think that a lot of the blame can be laid on J.J. Abrams, who has a habit of like creating mysteries where they don't need to be, which is what he did in the first one. What he did in Force Awakens, where he was like, ooh, here's all these like tantalizing mysteries, and now I'm gone, and somebody else has to clean up my mess.
Right.
And Ryan Johnson came along and was like, well, how, like, this is a tidy way to clean it up. Did you watch Lost?
I got halfway through the first season.
Oh, man.
But I like cartoons. I'm not very good with TV shows. I can't get into them.
Okay, go on.
I don't know why. So I really enjoyed Breaking Bad, and I got to season 4 halfway through it. I was like, no thought came into my mind. I just stopped watching it.
Okay.
So in the height of El Pollo Loco or whatever they have their own facility now. I was just like, I don't know. I just don't care anymore. So I dropped it. The only kind of show that really got me engaged and invested was like The Wire, to the point where I might just have like closure issues. So I have like 3 episodes left of the final season of The Wire.
Really?
And this is 8 years going on. So
that you've been like slowly watching it?
No. Then I just stopped.
It's been 8 years since you watched the last episode.
I blew through 5 seasons of it, I think, in like maybe 40 hours. And then I was like, oh, it's getting pretty heavy. Let's pump the brakes. Let's put on Eastbound and Down or something.
Man. Okay, well, so do you enjoy comedy TV more than drama?
I do.
Okay.
But my go-to every time when I go home or on the weekend is either a movie I've already seen or starting something like a horror movie or a documentary.
Ooh, good
Always.
season for horror movies right now. We're just getting into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are your horror movies?
I really enjoy like every single genre. So like I love the Universal like monster movies. I like the Hammer films, like
What are the Hammer films?
So you have Universal Studios in like the 30s and 40s, and then in the 50s through like early 70s, and then they like revitalized it in like mid 2000s. Hammer Studios, based in the UK, they were doing basically the same monsters but British. So it was by British studios. So like Dracula was played by Christopher Lee.
Yes.
So that's why I think George Lucas was being like a film student. He's like, oh, I want to get Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee in both of my little trilogies because they were both in Dracula and in Frankenstein. They would just like use both those guys. So they're like kind of like gothic films, and it's a lot of like bright red blood. I have a book somewhere I'll show you, but it's. They're fun. A lot of like blonde virgins and like very pulpy films. But that all the like 70s like satanic homes like Exorcist, Poltergeist, all that shit.
Yeah.
Everything French.
That's the one I'm trying to think of right now. The like haunted house one, the ultimate haunted house one.
There's House on Haunted Hill, like the old
that
one. There's an old one with Vincent Price.
What's the one that Ryan Reynolds just did a remake of?
Oh, yeah. Amityville Horror.
Amityville, yeah, that's the one.
I was on a big road trip, and I drove through Long Island, and I wanted to go to the house because I love the first one.
Yeah.
With James Brolin, who's Josh Brolin's dad. And they moved it. They literally grabbed the house because everyone kept fucking with it, and like no one would live there, so they moved it to, I think, Jersey. They just like picked up the house.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And that is supposedly based on a true story, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think there's a documentary where this kid, really did shoot up his family.
Man.
And then I think he was arrested, or maybe he killed himself.
Oh, okay.
No, he definitely survived. So I think he might be in prison.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then they created the whole ghost side of it, the haunting part.
What about horror books? You get into those?
Yeah.
Or can you not finish a book?
I cannot finish. I've started about 300 books. No, yeah, I like The Shining a lot.
Dude, The Shining is the scariest thing I've ever read.
Isn't it?
It's and I should just say it's more like the scariest thing, one of the scariest things I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Not because man, that book was something else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always wonder, like, what Stephen King's wife must, like, they live in Maine, kind of secluded. She just watches this guy write this shit, and she's like, what if one day he just snaps?
Well, it's him struggling with alcoholism, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what the book is about?
There's that, and then, like, Cujo, I remember reading an interview. He doesn't remember writing it. That's how drunk he was.
Whoa.
When he wrote Cujo. He's like, oh, I wrote a book. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh.
He wrote the, like, child gangbang scene in It.
It, yeah.
Like, I can't imagine his wife being like, oh, great book, sweetie. Like, really interesting moment there where they all have sex with that preteen girl.
Be funny if...
Cool.
It'd be funny if, like, he wasn't even responsible for that moment in the book. If, like, he brought it to his editor and the editor was like, it's pretty good, but...
you know what it
I
needs?
feel like there's a lot of sexual tension between these children.
No, there's really not. I kind of just wrote it for the clown.
I think it's what the readers want.
So, come back in 2 weeks.
So I need 2 pages. You can just plug them in anywhere
Just,
you want.
you know, figure it out. But yeah, Steve, I read The Exorcist 2009, and I went camping by myself in Michigan while reading it.
Stupid.
Very stupid. I fucking hated it. I left early. I was like, fuck this. I'm not staying in the woods by myself, even though it doesn't take place in the woods.
Well, that's so The Exorcist and kind of like demons in general is the one I get so just freaked out by that stuff because I grew up Catholic, which it looks
Same
like
here.
you did also. I see the rosary back there.
I got a rosary there. I got a rosary over there.
Oh, nice.
I have a rosary attached to my clip-on rat tail.
Oh, wait, is that a rosary ring?
Yeah. So you like when you're traveling or something?
Yeah.
Or if you
I've
just-
never seen this.
Really?
Yeah.
The like cross broke off on the end.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, there'd be a little.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're missing your Our Fathers on this.
I know it. I always forget them. I always forget them, James. You don't have to remind me. But yeah, raised Catholic.
But so that was always whenever I was scared of monsters or anything, and my parents would always be like, "Oh, well, don't worry, like that's not real. That's not real stuff." But it's like, but the devil, that's a real monster.
Yeah.
That's a real monster
James?
that can get you.
Everything you're learning at 5 p.m. mass,
Right.
and that's in this movie is all true. It's not going to happen to you though, so don't
Right.
worry.
It won't happen to you unless you get interested in the devil for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of thing where I was like, "Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So there is one monster that is real in this world."
I do miss those times though, like reading about how people reacted to like Jaws or The Exorcist, where like people were vomiting and like fainting in the
Yeah.
theater. Like that would have been so much fun to go and be a part of that environment.
Yeah,
Of
well-
like women just running out, men puking, and like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, what is this?
Well, remember when Paranormal Activity was coming out and the whole marketing campaign was theaters won't let us show this movie. Write to your movie theater and tell them you want to see this movie.
Yep.
That I thought, and like, I imagine that was all bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's so brilliant. It's such
Yeah.
a good marketing
Yeah.
campaign.
It's
for-
like WWE. It's
Yeah.
like they don't want it, but you do, right? Let me hear you.
yeah, come on, give me a hell yeah. For ghosts and video cameras.
Yeah. That was that and what's the fucking Woods movie with the
Blair Witch?
Blair Witch, thank you.
Yeah, I guess Blair Witch was one where they talked about like people fainted and
Yeah.
people were crying and bleeding from their eyes while watching.
True story.
Yeah.
I just found out Fargo does that or did that. The Coen brothers. It's not based on a true story.
Right.
Sons of bitches. if Joel and Ethan, if you're listening, you pull the fast one on me.
It is. Yeah. Or it's like it's not based on a true story. I forget what the story is behind them putting that in the movie, but it was something interesting
Okay.
that would be great for right now
Right.
that I can't think of.
Damn.
So Did you watch the show of Fargo?
I did, and I finished season 1, baby.
Cool.
I'm watching season 2 right now.
Okay.
I loved season 1, but they got me again. They said based on a true story. This is all real. I was like, I'm like, this must have happened kind of recently, and I don't remember ever hearing anything this ridiculous. So the whole time I was like, is it?
Yeah.
Or are they just like embellishing a lot of it? But then, yeah, it's all fake.
Right.
Because it's over the top.
I thought that Fargo, the TV show, was such a good like reimagining of the movie. It was just like, oh, this is a guy who is put in a situation where he gets in over his head, and now he's involved with actual criminals, and there's a cop who is trying to like track it to unravel the whole thing. I thought it was like just such a good way to make Fargo into a season-long show. And then to tie it into the movie also.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I watched the first season with my mom this summer, and the whole time she was like, I don't think, what's his name? Martin Freeman. I don't think he's a bad guy. I was like, Mom, he just killed
First
his
episode.
wife. Yeah.
First episode.
And my mom's like, yeah, but she had it coming. She's a bitch.
Isn't it weird how TV shows and movies can like twist your point of view so easily, where it's just like, oh, well, she was mean to him. Of course she deserved to be killed.
No.
Oh.
Then if that was real life.
Right.
Yeah. That reminds me, did you ever see Bernie?
Yeah.
With
Wait.
Jack Black?
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, based on an actual true story.
The people interviewed are people from the town.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, no, he was a nice guy even after the murder.
Right.
She was super rude. Like, we don't miss her. We want Bernie back. He was so nice.
Who directed that? Do you remember?
I don't know.
No,
It was good,
That's
though.
a good movie. Yeah.
Jack Black is talented as hell.
I think Jack Black has. I feel like what would be the word for this? Where he had his prime, and then he had his breakout doing like comedy and was very, very successful.
Nacho Libre, maybe?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he had like Nacho Libre, and he had like School of Rock. He had Kung Fu Panda. He had all of these movies that made him a star. And then he seems like a person that is worthy of the post-comedy, like dramatic acting
Bill Murray
career.
route.
Yeah, but he never quite got that. Like Bernie was a great movie that just didn't get enough audience maybe.
Yeah.
But now he's going back into goofy comedies, like doing Jumanji and this with the like clock with the house with the clock in the walls.
Yeah.
Instead of getting to do more like character
Very true.
acting stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think he's good enough to do.
Yeah.
You ever see Enemy of the State?
Is that with Will Smith?
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Really?
And I pride myself on my 90s cinema.
Oh, man. Will Smith. You're talking
Gene
Jack Black.
Hackman.
You're talking Gene Hackman. You're talking Barry Pepper. You're talking
Ooh.
Seth Green, I think.
Hello.
Yeah.
Damn.
Are these laser discs?
They are.
Or are they records?
They're laser discs.
Damn.
You want to
dude.
see one?
Yeah, let me check one out. I only have I have the original Star Wars trilogy on Laserdisc.
Nice. I got a couple of them. I don't know where they are, but I've got Heat. I've got
Hell yeah.
Kindergarten Cop. I've got Black Sheep. I found them at some store in Mesa, some like antique store. So James is looking at one of my Laserdiscs. If you guys are a younger crowd listening to this, Laserdiscs were
Imagine a CD and a record put together.
what was it, like early 90s?
It was, and it was the first format where you could like chapter select.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where you could like skip around and
Gotcha.
it had it. I think they might have even had title menus.
Interesting.
Man.
I remember going over to my aunt's friend's house, and they were loaded, and they had a Laserdisc player, and they were kind of showing everyone the house, and I was the only kid. So they're like, do you want to watch something? I was like, yeah, sure. Then her friend Tyrone was like, oh, let's put on the Laserdisc for him, because we got this big screen TV. You know, one of those big square ones, they weighed like 800 pounds. So they put on Alive, the plane crash movie in the 80s. I was watching that on Laserdisc.
The first R-rated movie I ever saw.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's rated R?
Yeah, they eat each other.
Yeah. I guess thematically it's an R because I mean you don't see anything graphic.
No, I think you see the guy like cut some meat off of somebody else.
Got it.
And they're already dead.
Gotcha.
They're not alive.
Nice. Is that a good movie? I don't remember it.
I don't know. Honestly, I just remember it being the first R-rated movie I ever saw.
Fair.
It was a big moment for me as a kid.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think the first one I saw was Predator. My uncle let me watch it in Mexico.
Predator's such a good movie.
Isn't
Predator is such a perfect 80s action movie.
It is that perfect movie.
Yeah.
I always tell people, I'm like, what's some of your favorite like perfect movies? It's Predator, Back to the Future, Raiders.
Yeah?
Raiders is a perfect movie.
Huh. What would be a perfect
Empire?
movie for me?
I feel like Empire Strikes Back is perfect.
Oh, yeah. Empire Strikes Back is such a good one. Godfather is just like...
Godfather.
I mean, I'm not breaking any new ground by saying Godfather's a good movie here. But
Extra. James Dugan calls Godfather a good movie.
yeah, I got some hot takes for you cinephiles out there. Godfather and Godfather Part 2 might be great movies. I think that
Whatever
Francis
you're
Ford,
doing right now, put it down. Put down the Francis Ford Coppola wine and pop in that Godfather 2 laser disc.
You got to watch it on Laserdisc, the way it was meant to be watched.
What else do we got? Let's go through these perfect movies.
Damn, I feel like all we've talked about is movies so far. Is that okay?
I mean, it's... Yeah, I mean, I only have so much in my brain that I can...
Do you ever see, and this is kind of a hot take, you ever see Stranger Than Fiction? The Will Ferrell movie?
Yeah, I really like that.
That movie, to me, is almost it might be a perfect movie.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it is, I don't know, that one just like really spoke to me in a way that I wasn't expecting when I went to the theater to see it.
Yeah.
And I just think, it's very well written, and the ending of it, I thought was so good. And I've talked with, it was actually, I wish that I could give myself credit for this, but it was Patrick McDonald who told me this revelation for it, where he's like, okay, spoilers, if you haven't seen Stranger Than Fiction.
Tough titties.
What have you been doing with your life? But so the ending, they're like the whole way through, they're talking about this book, and it's like this guy has to die. It only makes sense if he dies. And then he gets hit by the bus, and he wakes up, and he's alive, and he survives. And it's like, oh, it's not really. And they also talk about this book. If he dies, it's a masterpiece. It's the greatest. It's one of the greatest books ever written. If he lives, it's fine. It's just like, it's a fluff movie.
Pick it up at the airport.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what the movie is, too.
Yeah.
If he dies at the end of that, that becomes Will Ferrell's greatest movie.
Yeah.
And it becomes just like such a bold movie and such a, and like a hard twist at the end of a pretty lighthearted movie otherwise. But instead, he survives, and they get this ending. The ending is just like, oh, it's a happy ending for everybody involved. But it could have been a masterpiece if he dies.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that was one of those movies that I just put on. I was like, I'll finally watch this. It looks like he's going the like Bill Murray route of like dipping his toe in the dramatic roles and whatnot. And I really enjoyed that. And then Her with
I haven't seen that one.
It's kind of the same thing where it's just I didn't see it coming, and I really enjoyed it. It's Spike Jonze, and it's kind of, you just kind of like take a step back, like, is this what it's going to be like these relationships that we're going to have with AI and whatnot? And like there's a moment where they have a sex scene where he's just talking to Scarlett Johansson, the AI, in his bed, and they just have they have sex, I guess. Yeah. Like, just talking.
I guess what they do would be sex? Is it sex?
Blade Runner sex or something?
I was raised Catholic. I'm not sure what sex
I'm going to mute it. But yeah, they have this intimate moment, and you're like, yeah, I guess that counts. And I don't know, just a moment in the movie where I was like, fuck, yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it.
All right,
and then it's got one of those endings you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Did you see Annihilation?
No!
Oh, I just watched it last night.
First time?
It's fun. Yeah.
Oh, is it good?
It's fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say it's fun. It's good.
Good.
Did you see Ex Machina?
Yes.
Did you like it?
I did the second time.
Oh.
First time I was like, I like it. I don't ever need to see this again.
Oh, that is. I saw it once, and I was like, I like this. I don't think I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah.
Huh.
We finally agreed.
That's same with Moon. Did you see Moon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Moon was great. And I was like, cool. Don't need to see it again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those movies you're like, I get it.
Yeah. And I remember I saw Moon. I was doing this like month-long Steppenwolf intensive during college, where I went to college in Chico, California, and every year.
Shout out to Sierra Nevada.
Hey, hell yeah! And if they want to send some free,
A couple pale ales.
a couple pale ales over here, a couple torpedo IPAs, that'd be great. But every year over the summer, there was this. I'm going to give way too much backstory for
Please.
this, but every year there was this like workshop or camp that the California State University system put on, where you would go to Fresno and you would stay at Fresno State, and they had master classes for every art form. It was like they had graphic design, they had like sculpting, they had music, they had dance, they had everything, and they always got these amazing teachers from different places. And the theater ones I went to, first year it was Second City, the second year it was Steppenwolf, third year it was I.O. But for the Steppenwolf one, it's a month long, and you're doing like viewpoints the whole time, and so you're like really diving into your like deep dark emotions and like putting them out there for everybody. And it's like 12 hours a day.
You are enough, James.
Thank you. It was 10 years ago, and I've been waiting to hear that. But so one day a bunch of us were like, we just need to go do something else. And so we all went and saw Moon. And then we came back, and people were like, how was it? What was Moon like? And we were like, man, I don't really know. Talk to me tomorrow morning. I have no idea what that movie was.
Yeah. It's kick-ass score, just that piano kind of going.
Yeah.
And then, yes, just Sam Rockwell fucking owning it.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell. What a dude. What a great actor.
Fucking fantastic.
Remember him in Ninja Turtles? Oh, boy.
No? Yeah. Wait, like the new one or the old ones?
No, the old ones. He's one of the thugs in Ninja Turtles.
Yes. I love it when there's like Jim Carrey was a like strung out dude in, I think, is it Magnum Force, like the fourth Dirty Harry? Clint Eastwood, he's in that. And then like Bill Paxton is one of the guys in Terminator at the beginning.
Bill Paxton is in every James Cameron movie.
Yeah.
So, because he's in Terminator 2 also, isn't he? Isn't he like the stepdad?
No, he's not in Terminator. No. He's
stepdad is the guy that was the head of the CTU in 24. I can't think of what his name was.
Yeah, the guy who he's drinking the milk or whatever, and the Terminator puts it through his head. No, but he's the only actor to get killed by, I'm sure you know this, Predator.
By an alien, a Predator, and a Terminator?
Yeah. From Predator 2, Aliens, and then, Terminator. And then he's fucking great in True Lies.
True Lies is such a good Bill Paxton movie.
It is.
Edge of Tomorrow is another great Bill Paxton movie.
Dude. People, if you're listening, watch Edge of Tomorrow, or what else did they call it?
All You Need Is Kill is the book that it was based on. They renamed it Live, Die, Repeat. Yeah. Did you almost say Eat, Pray, Love?
No.
Okay.
I think I was close to saying it.
Yeah.
Eat, Pray, Love. Eat, Pray, Repeat, Die, Love.
It was originally named Edge of Tomorrow, and then when it didn't do well, they recast Julia Roberts into it and made it Eat, Pray, Love.
Kind of took off from there. That movie is great. I think it kind of dies off in like the third act.
Yeah, kind of.
Strong first two acts.
Definitely.
Like, I was like, okay, I'm on board. Mm-hmm. That and then Oblivion, Tom Cruise.
I saw that you have that on Laserdisc also.
Oh, that was a record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which I was going to be like, why did they make Oblivion on Laserdisc?
Well, it's like a lot of, at least heavy metal bands, because I used to listen to a lot, they make they'll release their vinyls, and they also sell like new cassettes of their music.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna play this. It's just cool to have it. But
What are your metal bands that you like?
what kind of metal?
Let's talk about metal.
Uh,
Not that I'm very familiar with it, but
okay.
you just never struck me as a heavy metal guy.
That's all I used to listen to in high
Yeah?
school and college. Yeah. Not like wearing black or anything. I just really liked it. But like my favorite band would be Baroness. Is like bingo. Yeah. I got a little poster up. Kylesa, Mastodon, I listen to a lot.
Oh, cool.
High on Fire.
Yeah,
a lot.
kind of the more like epic.
Yeah, and they're all like from the South, which is like in the like 2000s and 2010s. Like that's where it was, like Savannah, Raleigh, Atlanta, Macon. They're all like churning out these like Black Tusk, Torch, all these like kick-ass, not douchey heavy metal bands, just
Yeah.
like rock and roll guys. But then, in high school, it was a lot of like thrash metal, so just like the old school Metallica,
Hell yeah.
Slayer,
Yeah.
Megadeth, Anthrax, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Metallica sold so many albums.
It's insane.
It's pretty crazy.
Have you ever seen them playing in Moscow?
No.
I will show you after this. You get like every hair on your body standing up because it's right after the Berlin Walls come down, right after the fall of communism.
Yeah.
And Metallica's playing, it's like the Speed of Sound tour or something like that. And it's them and like AC/DC, all these like older rock bands playing at this huge festival in Moscow. And there is like millions of people with like the huge speakers, on stages. And they're playing, it might be Enter Sandman or one of those.
Yeah.
But it's just, you see all these fucking Russian guys just losing their minds. There's like military, there's helicopters flying, these huge, like, there's a Confederate flag in the
Whoa.
audience. Like, they probably just grabbed all this American stuff that they could, and they're just like, like going nuts, like wearing denim jackets. And
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Oh, wild.
Yeah, it's the energy. You can just feel it. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Finally getting to like experience Western things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is like you hear about these old music festivals or like mega concerts, things like Live Aid or like Woodstock.
Yeah.
Where I wonder if we will ever have one of those again, or if we have had it and just the relevance of it won't hit us until later.
Sure.
And I wonder if that's what it was with Woodstock. Like, did we know how big of a deal Woodstock was when it happened, or was it later that we were like, "Oh, this was a big turning point"?
Yeah,
culturally,
I think so. Yeah, I think it was post because Jimi Hendrix is playing at like 9 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And people are like, yeah, he's gonna be great.
Oh, what's he gonna do? He set his guitar on fire. How's he gonna finish this set?
Yeah, it's just like. Also, at the time, like, it's not now where like you can go and buy a guitar and like a little studio that you can make and just churn out your own music, put it on SoundCloud or whatever. But back then, it's just obviously way less bands, but they also just got all these. Maybe whether they were big then or are big now just because they played at Woodstock. But like Santana, Sly and the Family Stone played there. 10 Years Gone. Jimi Hendrix, The Who, Janis Joplin.
Yeah.
Like huge bands. Outside of like Creedence and Zeppelin and like Black Sabbath, there's like everyone else was there pretty much. I don't know.
Although there were a lot less bands back then.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's what I meant with like everyone now could be a band have a band and be a musician. But yeah, then like you had to, I'm really going to like save up and like dedicate myself to this. So yeah, I think it's maybe, just a smaller pool to pull from. And like, so you really either were that good or it's just like, these guys are great because of that's all we had.
Yeah. I don't know. Think about maybe 15 years from now, historians being like, Lollapalooza 2019. This really, there will never be another show like this.
We're talking Kanye. We're talking Cardi B. Yeah. I don't know. I can't do festivals.
No way.
No way. I get too anxious, and it's like this pressure to like go nuts.
I'm too old for them.
Yeah. Even when I was 20, I would have been like, no.
Yeah.
No thanks.
I don't go to that many concerts. I really only go to concerts or shows that I know I'm going to enjoy.
Yes.
I don't I never go, oh, let's check out this band at a bar or something. I only will pay for like, oh, Springsteen's coming back to Wrigley, so I know I'm going to enjoy that show. I got to go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to go to stuff that I'm like trying to predict what the audience is going to be like. I'm like, all right, can I go see a Dwayne Johnson movie at Saturday night at 9 p.m., like that kind of a thing, like picking my movies, but I'll go see like maybe like an electronic, like kind of like movie score. Like I saw Johan Johansson, who
cool.
does who just passed away in like February.
Oh, really?
Randomly, but yeah, he did like Sicario and Prisoners and Arrival. Did you see Arrival?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude.
Yeah, he did all the music for them. So I was like, this is going to be a nice concert because everyone's going to shut up and just listen to the guy.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do one of those, like where the symphony plays along with
Yeah.
the movie. Have you been to one of those?
No, but he had a quartet, a string quartet, and then he also had this like machine. It looked like a reel to reel.
Yeah.
He would play sound effects, and then he would just be on his like keys.
Oh, wild.
Yeah, it was over at the Talia Hall. I'll show you some videos. It was fucking dope.
Dude, the playlist for what you're going to show me after this is over is
All right, we
just
got
gonna-
Metallica. Yep, it's gonna be epic.
Yeah. We got to find that clip of Boba Fett hitting his head. We
Boba
gotta
Fett.
find,
Do not sleep on Boba Fett hitting his head. Yeah. You have any concerts coming up that you're going to?
Ooh, there is. So, I guess not really. I went and saw the last show that I saw was I went and saw the Springsteen on Broadway show. Which do you know about that at all? Dude. So I'm a big Springsteen head. I have a tattoo of Springsteen lyrics.
Hell yeah.
But he so he did this show, or he's still doing it right now, where it's just a one-man show on Broadway, and he gets up there and it's just him, and it's in a pretty small, maybe a 900-seat theater, and he has an acoustic guitar and he has a piano and he has a microphone, and that's it. And then he gets up and he just kind of tells stories, and then he plays a song, and then you cry because you realize what that song has been about this whole time. And then he's like, I mean, the best example of it is he talks about his relationship with his dad and how it was so frayed and so just tense. And it wasn't until years later that he understood that his father was suffering from depression this whole time, and he just like never understood it. And then he plays this song, My Father's House, and you just cry and you cry. And then he's like, all right, enough of that. We're not gonna cry all night long. We're gonna talk about my mom. My mom's a beautiful woman. She loves to dance. She loves to sing. She's so full of life, and she's still alive. She's still alive. She's like 92 or something. And the last 5 years have been rough because she has Alzheimer's and she's a shell of what she used to be. Anyways, here's a song about her, and then you're crying again.
Jesus.
And like,
Here's Dancing in the Dark acoustic.
dude, he plays that at the end.
Does he?
And he plays it because he goes through. Oh, you got to check it out because he's filming his final show, and it's going to be on Netflix. I think Netflix, either that or HBO in December. But he talks about, dude, he does this whole story about the Vietnam War where he talks about how like his number got called and he went down to the draft office, and the way that he put it was, he says, and me and my friends, we did everything that we could to get out of going, and we did. They didn't take us.
Damn.
And then years later, I went and visited the Vietnam War Memorial Wall, and I looked at those names, and I wondered which one of them went instead of me. Because somebody did.
Yeah.
Somebody went.
100%.
And then he plays Born in the USA, and he plays it just on an acoustic guitar and, like, just screams it at you, and it's not the pop ballad that it is on the album. It's
Ronald
like
Reagan coming out to
yeah,
it, like, dude.
it is like a protest song when he plays it. And that was like, I walked away from that one being like, oh, I'm mad about the Vietnam War now. I'm so mad about the Vietnam
James Dugan's
War.
hot takes. The Godfather's good. The Vietnam War got
Vietnam
him all
War was
riled
bad.
up. Oh my God, dude. It's yeah, man, I've always wondered about that. Like, well, I'm 32 now, so like getting drafted is the window gets smaller and smaller.
Oh, I think we're out of it. I think it closes at 30.
Yeah, like you think about like I'm like, oh, I'm still young. I can still do this. But then also there's freaking
And then you go
millions.
Try, and then you go try and run a mile, and you're like, oh, I'm not young. I'm not young.
Yeah, there's millions of 18-year-old kids out there. You know what I mean? They're like,
Yeah.
they're gonna go after them, obviously.
For
First.
sure.
And like looking back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, because I work with like some like 22, 23-year-old kids. I'm like, they're fucking children.
Right.
So like an 18-year-old, like, my God. But yeah, I think if there was a draft, I would probably sign up.
Yeah.
Because I've read a lot about like World War II and Vietnam, and like always enjoyed the movies, and my grandpa fought in World War II, so I just feel like I would hate myself if I didn't do at least something. But then I'm like, well, I don't want to get too political, but if our president gets us into a war, I'm like, I can't just fight for this fucker. You know what I mean? Like, but then that's what Vietnam was for most people, you know?
Yeah. Well, was it just your grandfather? Do you have other military in your family?
Just my grandfather, and then older than that, but that doesn't, I mean.
That's same for me, yeah. Where my grandpa did World War II.
My dad was too young. My dad was born in 59, so he was 16 when the Vietnam War ended.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think because my dad was 53. Well, it was born in 53.
Okay.
And I want to say that he like had to go down to the draft office, and when they drew numbers, his wasn't drawn, but he was like right there on the edge.
Fuck.
Yeah. What was your Grandpa? Army?
Yeah, Army, and then he was stationed in North Africa and then Italy.
Dude, that's let's see. My grandpa, I think he was North Africa and then Burma.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Just
that,
overall or Burma?
The overall,
Myanmar, yeah.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
like that there was a draft. I don't think that there will be a draft.
Sure.
In our lifetime, just because we have such a large standing military right now, and also I don't think that Congress, to implement a draft would be any senator that voted for that would immediately lose their office. Nobody wants a draft.
Sure. Plus, we're going more towards like drones and stuff. Like they might not even need us. I don't know.
Right. Boy, that'd be the day.
But at the end of the day, you have to measure war by casualties.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, interesting.
That's what war is like how many of my guys can kill your guys? Or how many can my guys kill how many of your guys? You know what I mean?
Do you get down on Star Trek?
I have nothing against it. I watched
You are so frustrating.
Mr. Dugan, I watched the first episode. This is like 6 years ago. The first episode of the first season where they go
Next Generation
of
or
the first first ever Star Trek. I think that was what's his face?
William Shatner wasn't in the first episode
Okay.
of Star Trek. It was a different captain.
Got it. The first episode. Have you ever seen Sunshine?
Yes.
Sunshine's basically that premise where they get this signal and they're like, "Wow, we could go check this out, or we could continue our mission." They go and everything goes awry.
Yeah.
But I watched that and I was like, "This is really good." And then I just forgot to watch episode 2.
There's an episode of Star Trek. Oh man, I want to say it must be original series where there's these two like cultures or factions that are at war, but the way that they wage war is they're just like they basically are pitting computers against each other, and they just say they're like, well, I just launched a nuke at you.
Yeah.
You know that I have the capability to do it. You know that like we as a culture have that technology. So we have decided to launch a nuke, and we estimate that it kills this many people. So now you need to go kill that many of your citizens.
Yeah.
Like rather than us actually launching it, this is how we're going to conduct war. I think that's how it went. I'm
like
really
genocide.
starting to doubt. Well, the whole idea was like we're not actually going to wage war, but we will honor the like casualties of it. Where it's like rather than destroying what
Sure.
you have, you just have to go kill this many of your citizens.
Kind of like a bigger version of like biblical, like give me your firstborn son kind of a thing. Like I'm just going to take one of each from each household.
Yeah, and let me see if I can find, because
Sure.
now I'm starting to worry that that they didn't go kill them, that it was just like they were keeping a running tally,
Okay.
and it was kind of just a game to them.
What series or like reboot? Because they do. What are they called? Like the versions of Star Trek, the show.
There's the different series.
Series.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So there's like the original, the OGs,
Yeah, there's original series. There is Next Generation.
Babylon 5
Oh
generation.
my God, no, no, there's not.
There's none of that.
No, so there's original series, which was like Kirk and Spock,
Mm-hmm.
and that was in the '60s, and then that lasted 3 seasons.
Oh.
It got canceled.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was actually it was I want to say it was the first show where it got canceled, and then there was such a like fan response to it getting canceled that they brought it back for another
cool.
season. And then 20 years later, they did Next Generation, which is with like Patrick Stewart and like Picard and Data and
Right.
those guys. And and like Next Generation was just basically a reboot of the original. It takes
Okay.
place 70 years later, so technology is better, but it's the same mission where they're just kind of out exploring.
Gotcha.
Then you had Deep Space Nine, and I know that you did not ask for this detailed of an explanation, but
I wanted it.
okay, hell yeah,
Deep Space Nine?
yeah.
I don't know why for a minute I thought that was its own show, like
No.
Babylon 5.
No, so Deep Space Nine was Deep Space Nine takes place in the same kind of era as Next Generation. Like Picard is in the first episode of Deep Space Nine, handing it over.
Who was Picard?
Patrick Stewart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Captain Picard.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And then, but the cool thing of Star Trek and Next Generation were all about exploration. It was like, these are the finest officers that Starfleet has, and they are just out exploring and like encountering all of these different civilizations and just like interacting and finding out about them. They are exploring strange new worlds, seeking out new life and new civilizations, and boldly going where no one has gone before. Then Deep Space Nine was more, they were on a space station, so they weren't exploring anymore. They were like cleaning up an occupation that had just happened, and they were like, they were bringing this new race into their federation that their whole planet had been occupied by basically Nazis, and so it was a much darker series. And
What years did that come out?
that was like 93 until 99, I think.
I always like to know when like movies come out. I'm like, what is the
Yeah.
social commentary
Oh yeah.
of what's going on in the real world? But
Well, and that was actually because this one, what was really unique about this show also was that rather than exploring, they were all soldiers. Like they were at war through this whole one. That one was great.
Gotcha.
And then you got Voyager, which came out in 95. It was either 95 or 96.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, did you watch Battlestar Galactica?
Mm-mm.
Okay. You
It's on my list.
You should check out Battlestar.
The originals?
No, the new one.
Is that with James Edward Olmos?
Edward James Olmos? Yeah.
That's funny because my name's James Edward Griven, so I got it mixed
You
up.
just kind of put yourself in that one.
Voyager 95.
Voyager.
No, I'm sorry. Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica was in 2003, and that's not Star Trek.
When was the original? Battlestar?
Oh, it was in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah, the original movie for Battlestar was
movie?
Yeah.
I thought it was a show.
James,
Come on, what the?
I'll give you. Okay, hang on. Let me finish my Star Trek history, and then I'll give you the Battlestar
And
history.
then I want Babylon 5 because I always joke about it. I don't know what it is.
I've never watched Babylon 5.
Well,
so
we got Sunday night plans.
Yeah, we can check it out afterwards. But you got Voyager, and Voyager is like one ship that gets thrown to the other side of the galaxy, and then the whole show is them trying to make their way home.
Okay.
So they're like out on their own exploring all new stuff. Then you got Enterprise, which was like 2003, I think.
What?
And that was supposed to be the first ship that like went way back in time. And it was like the first spaceship that ever went out exploring.
Okay.
And then you got Discovery, which just came out this year.
Oh shit.
Yeah, which has been very fun. So Battlestar.
Yes.
There was a little movie released in 1977 called Star Wars. And after Star Wars came
James, I
out...
thought it was episode 4. We got to go back and listen to this.
Yeah. So Star Wars was like, then everybody needed to do a science fiction epic. So Battlestar Galactica, I want to say, came out in either 78 or 79, and it was a movie. And then they made a series off of the movie in the 80s.
Okay.
And then they made another series. They like rebooted the whole series in 2003.
Okay.
And that is the Battlestar that you should watch.
Okay. So it's like Fargo.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the original show's not good.
The original show is just so campy.
It's like
and it's
Dwight
so
Schrute.
cheesy.
Does Dwight Schrute watch the original, do you know, or the newer one?
He watches the new one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because he's above the original.
Well, kind of. It's also just like that it was on while The Office was on also.
Yeah.
And that, so...
Oh, the new one. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Got it.
So he's into Battlestar Galactica, the new one.
Okay. And it's good. Mm-hmm. Because I remember that Portlandia episode. They're like, we'll watch Battlestar.
Yeah.
And then they're like, zombies. Cool. And Babylon 5?
I know nothing about Babylon 5.
Because my dad he passed away, but he was a big geek nerd, and he would get these catalogs. I want to say I have one here. I'll see if I can dig it up afterwards so I can show you all this other stuff.
What an afternoon we're going to have.
It was like 1-800 like Trekker or Trekkie, these like magazine catalogs, and you could just buy like Star Trek, like what is the laser, the photon, the
phaser?
the phasers that they had. You could buy like an alien replica, like 1/50th scale. Like they just had all these like toys and fun stuff for like adults, like lightsabers and shit. But I always remember reading, like going through the Star Trek stuff. I'm like, I've never seen this. I don't know what this is. They had the Babylon 5 section. They had the Battlestar Galactica section of like the original ones, and then they had Doctor Who? Yeah. I want to say the Guess Who. The Guess Who's home? Yeah, Doctor Who, which is I feel like another one that's been rebooted or like a million times.
Well, Doctor Who is actually, God, I hate the tone that I'm taking with you in this. I feel like when I listen to this episode, I'm going to be like, what a fucking blowhard you are about nerd stuff.
I'm a
James.
blowhard too.
Yeah, but I feel like I keep being like, well, actually, Jimmy.
No, not
this
at all.
Is what
I don't get a blowhard vibe at all. I get a man of the people vibe.
Thank you. Okay,
Yes.
good. I'm defending us here. So Doctor Who has been on since the 60s, and it is pretty much. And I've never watched any Doctor Who, and mostly because I know that I would love it so much, and then I would have to watch 30 years of television. But Doctor Who is. You've got the Doctor, who is an alien who every once in a while, he's an alien Time Lord, and every once in a while he has to regenerate. And when he regenerates, he takes on a new form. So there have been something like 13 different Doctors at this point, but they're all the same.
Got it.
The same alien, basically.
Okay.
They just take different forms every time. So it's been on forever because you just every 5 years or so, they replace the actor and they keep going.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now they have a woman, right? First time? The one before that was it the guy from House? Which I've never seen. Was that him?
No, it wasn't Hugh Laurie, but it was a guy that looked like him. Yeah.
I didn't know his name. Hugh Laurie, yeah. Who's British, right? But he played an American doctor.
Yeah. Who was like a comedian.
Is he?
In the UK.
Okay.
There was him and Stephen Fry did a bunch of stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They had like a sketch show or something.
Okay. See, that's when you were mentioning that you can't go back and watch them because it's 30 years worth of TV. That's where I'm just like, I'm going to save it for when I'm retired if I make it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to I was talking to my mom yesterday because my stepdad's mom is getting surgery on her back.
Ooh.
Yeah, she just broke her hip, poor thing. So
Oh, my
it's-
God.
now she's got like a crushed vertebrae. It's a lot, but she just like is watching TV as most older people do. But like it's like Judge Judy, it's all these shows, and I'm like, these are not going to be around in 10 years. All these shows, because like our generations doesn't watch it now.
Yeah.
They're not going to choose to watch that shit later. We're going to like pick good stuff to watch.
Also, we have Netflix.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, why do I need to watch whose baby it is with the DNA test? Like, no, fuck that. Maybe I'll still watch that.
That's
Maury Povich. That's good.
I was gonna say that, like, yeah, we do have Netflix, but we do still choose to watch very trashy reality TV.
Very true.
Yeah.
So who
Anyways,
knows?
I'm sorry.
No. But yeah, that's my plan if I make it to retirement and old age is just watch all of these shows that like X-Files, I love it, but I just don't have the time to invest. So like that, The Sopranos, shows that I
I've
didn't
never
watch.
watched The Sopranos either.
I hear it's great.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't have time. I'd rather just watch a bunch of movies or documentaries. So I'm just going to save all these great shows so I can enjoy my retirement.
But that's in case you don't die in like a skateboarding accident.
Exactly.
Okay. You're gonna go out.
Skateboarding accident. That's what, now I'm going to be a blowhard. You think I'm going to die in a skateboard? Maybe like a truck full of skateboards falls on me. Okay.
I don't know. I was trying to think of a cool way to die.
That's not a cool way to die.
A skateboarding accident?
No,
Tell me a cooler way to die.
A cool way to die is you're trying to save a life that's maybe like a burning building.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
this is the blowhard hour.
Okay.
Hot takes. My dad would always joke, or maybe not joke. You ever see the movie The Edge?
Yeah, the Alec Baldwin fighting a bear one.
Well,
with Anthony.
spoiler alert. You don't see the bear until like halfway through the movie.
Bear's on the cover.
No, it's not.
Yes, he is.
I just looked it up earlier because I was showing. It's got Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins just screaming.
There's no bear.
There's no
on
bear.
the
Look
cover?
it up.
I feel like there's for sure a bear also screaming.
You might be thinking of The Bear, which is like a French movie that came out in like the 80s.
I'm definitely not thinking of a French movie that came out in the 80s. I'm for sure thinking of the Anthony Hopkins, Alec Baldwin movie.
That movie is a trip though because it just follows the life of this like it's kind of like Bambi, this abandoned bear. Or no, its mom gets separated, and then at one point, that's not the DVD cover.
Well, what am I looking at?
That's I think that's like a special edition DVD that came out. The original,
this is the one that you're talking about.
the original poster.
This one of just
thank you.
of
They're
them
just yelling.
screaming. Yeah.
They're getting very what's his face?
I don't know. Here's another one with the bear. There's a bunch of bears in
Those
here.
are probably the posters from China and Germany that came out
Yeah.
in English lettering.
Who is the real villain in that movie?
That movie was it written by what's his face? Who's the angry playwright? The blowhard.
Sam Shepard?
No, the other blowhard. I don't think Sam Shepard's the blowhard.
Nah, he's not. But he's an. Oh, I know who you're talking about. It's David
Mamet.
Mamet.
Thank you. I think David Mamet wrote that.
I think you're right.
And the only reason I remember that is because of that fucking poster where they're just like, I'm a man and I am screaming.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Emotion.
Mamet.
Is it Mamet?
Yeah, it definitely is.
I finally saw a Glenn Ross 2 years ago, and I was
Ooh.
like, fuck this
I've
honky ass movie. I'm like, I don't care if you make the sale or not. But Al Pacino was great in it.
Al Pacino's great. Alec Baldwin's in that one too.
With his
right at the beginning.
Brass balls.
Yeah.
I would literally pull out my 45 cal and I'd blow his brains out if he ever tried to pull that shit on me.
That is a definite threat on Alec Baldwin's life.
The character. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You want to try and tell me how to sell, buddy? I know how to sell.
And you know what? Based on the way that the movie presented him, I would probably be like, he deserved it. That guy deserved it. Came in
Yeah.
there trying to motivate them.
I'd kill him, and then I'd get his Rolex, and I'd sell it, and that's my sale for the evening.
Wasn't the watch a thing in The Edge also?
Yes, because
Was Alec Baldwin playing the same character from Glengarry Glen Ross in The Edge?
yes,
Can we make this work?
yes,
Okay.
he was a blowhard douche photographer who was
Yes.
dropping it in his wife, Alec Baldwin's wife,
Yes.
having an affair. Anthony Hopkins is assuming that this is going on, and then they get hit by the birds. The plane goes down. They have to survive. The three of them, the other guy gets eaten.
Yeah, by the bear.
Yeah, and then they have to kind of like just ignore what's going on and survive together.
Yeah.
But
She gave him a watch or
Yes.
something, right?
So there's that. No, she gave. Yeah, it was a watch. Anthony Hopkins asked if he can tell him what time it is, and he's like, "Oh, my watch is broken."
Yeah.
And at the end of it, he sees the watch, and it's got an engraving on it from her.
Right.
And it says like, "Thanks for all the nights." I'm
That-
like, God damn.
Also, like, Baldwin, come on. There, you got, because I remember that moment when he's like, do you know what time it is? And it's right after their plane has crashed and they are like struggling to survive.
Yeah.
And Baldwin's like, no, my watch is broken. It's
Yeah.
like, maybe we need to rise above it at this point and stop hiding that.
I don't know. He's a coward though.
Yeah, that's true.
Sleeps with a married man's wife. So, but the other thing is, and I've always wondered this in movies, that does no one know how to tell the direction of where they are based on where the sun is?
Okay, now this came up in Annihilation while I was watching it last night.
Okay.
And they said something that I guess they used a watch though. But they were like, oh, we don't know which way south is and the compass isn't working. And they said, you know this, point the hour hand at the sun and then split the difference between between that and 12, and that is south. It was something like that.
I'm not a sailor. I don't know how to do that. I don't even know what 12 is on a clock.
Okay, you should know that.
I'm pretty sure my cousins don't know how to read a watch or a clock.
Really?
I think so. It's like a generational thing.
You think so?
I'm pretty sure. I remember having to do that like in school, like having to tell what time it is on like quizzes, but I don't think they do anymore.
But those clocks haven't disappeared.
They kind of have.
No.
Everything's on a phone now.
No.
The time is all like just the numbers. Anyways.
That's insane.
But can't you just look at the sun, see where it is, or wait until it starts setting in the west?
I guess if you know what time it is.
But it doesn't matter what time it is.
Sure it does. It might be in the east or the west.
Well, then you just wait 2 hours and you see where the sun's starting to go down.
Well, you got 2 hours to kill. There's a bear coming after you.
I climb a tree. Bears.
Are you kidding me?
I would love if someone could get a bear for me, throw me into the woods. I climb a tree. A bear starts coming after me. I'm going to kick it. There's no way he's getting me in a tree. I promise you, James.
Talk to me more about how you will defeat a bear if you were thrown into that situation.
If I'm on the ground, you pop its eye out, just like you would a dog.
Or a gorilla. That's what I'm talking about.
A gorilla, there's no fucking way I'm coming out of that. I can take care of myself with a bear.
You think you could beat a bear, but you have no chance against a gorilla?
Dude, a gorilla is not even from this planet. They are insanely jacked. I don't know how they do it because all they eat is plant protein. But there's just no way. They're like a huge version of us.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way. A bear is clumsier. It's like a really big dog, and they get scared easily. Like a black bear is like no problem at all.
Well, a black bear's a vegetarian.
All right, we're talking Kodiak grizzlies.
Yeah.
You let him bite into your shoulder or your arm.
Let him?
You say, grab onto this. I'll lose an arm over a leg. You give him your arm. He takes a big old bite, and then you just stick your thumb into its eyeball. He's going to go ape shit. He's going to...
That's what you want?
When you get something poking your eye and popping it and all the eye fluid comes down onto your face, he's going to freak out. He's going to be like, why can't I only see out of one eye now? And he's going to run off. I promise you.
Now, this is, I love that you brought this up. And the next time that you and I are sitting at the bar at I.O. and Mike Garrity is walking around, let's talk about this because this is my exact plan for defeating a gorilla.
Call Mike Garrity?
No, and it pisses Garrity off so much. But my whole plan is that I need to, it needs to not know that it's in a fight yet. I need to get the drop on the gorilla, and I'm going to take its eyes out.
Wait, gorilla or bear?
Gorilla.
Okay.
This is how I fight a gorilla. Okay?
Start over. It doesn't know it's in a fight.
No, it doesn't know that it's fighting me yet.
Okay.
And I get the drop on it, and I take out its eyes. Okay?
How do you do that? Popping them?
Yeah, I pop them. And then so then you've got this like panicked animal.
Now, wait a minute.
Yeah, what's up?
The gorilla, it's a silverback, I'm assuming, male.
Yeah, let's go all the way.
Very angry. What's the scenario? You're walking around and this gorilla comes out of the Congo forest and sees you?
We're in an enclosed gladiatorial arena. But it doesn't know that it's fighting me.
In Italy?
Yeah. So the gorilla is way out of its comfort zone.
Okay. And it doesn't feel threatened. Are you standing or are you laying prone?
I'm dropping on it from above.
How is this happening? Crane?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, continue. Sorry.
All right, so that's it. So I drop onto it, I take out its eyes, and then I get away. And then I get away from it.
You get very quiet.
Yeah. So then I let it like flail about, and then once it calms down, I scare it. And then I let it.
You
and then,
scare it?
Yeah, I scare it.
How are you scaring?
I'm going to yell at it.
What are you going to yell?
I don't know, it doesn't matter what
Yell
I
quickly.
yell.
Improvise. Hey, you.
Waffles. It doesn't matter. It's not. You can't hear me.
Okay.
Or it can hear me. It doesn't know
Yes.
what I'm saying. I'm going to scare it. Okay. I scare this gorilla so that it like gets riled up again.
Are you in its ear yelling this? Or are
I
you
might
away?
be.
Okay.
It gets riled up and it starts flailing again. And I let it tire itself out. And then I scare it again. And I do this until its heart explodes.
Or it gets depressed
Yeah.
and it just goes to sleep. I like that.
Okay, thank you.
That's fun.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Kill Bill 2 when she takes her
Oh, yeah.
Daryl Han. No, not Daryl.
It is Daryl Hannah, isn't it?
It's so close to Daryl Hammond from SNL, right?
Yeah, but it is. It's Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah, yeah, from Splash and Kill Bill.
Splash
where she just
and
takes her eye out
Blade
and she's
Runner.
flailing around. Yeah, Blade
Yeah.
Runner. Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I'd be. If you got the grizzly, I got the gorilla. You and I could rule this jungle.
All right, now let's say the gorilla does know you're in a fight.
I don't stand a chance.
Okay, thank you.
It rips my head off accidentally.
Gorillas are scary, dude.
Yeah. Now, a gorilla versus a grizzly bear. Who takes that?
Gorilla.
You think so?
100%.
But it doesn't have the claws or the teeth.
But
it's got the teeth.
It's
I
got
guess.
the arms with they have opposable thumbs. It's,
yeah.
It's able to like push on a bear's shoulder, grab its arm, break it, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Hold its head, grab its fur,
Yeah.
and just swing, baby.
I'm worried about, like, do gorillas punch? Do they know that move?
That's a good call.
Like, we're giving a lot of credit to a gorilla knowing how to fight.
Yeah, I'm treating it like an MMA
Yeah.
fighter. It gets you in a rear naked choke, baby. That's it. You're tapping on this gorilla.
It gets you up against the wall. It's leaning
Yeah.
on you. It's making you tired.
I would need to study some gorilla fight tapes, some fight footage.
If
To
there are gorilla fight tapes out there,
Fuck.
Monetize that.
Slide into our DMs. Yeah, I think gorilla beats everything on Earth. I think it beats a great white if it's thrown in water.
really?
Yeah,
I think definitely a great white beats it.
I
Can
think
a gorilla swim?
I don't know. I think they're too heavy.
Yeah.
But freaking elephants swim, so who knows?
Yeah, but that's like natural for them.
I fucking hate great whites. I really do.
Really?
That's maybe the one species I want just gone.
Oh, interesting. But they're the perfect animal. They've never had to evolve.
Very true.
But what don't you-
They've evolved smaller though, right? They were megalodons, and now they've kind of
I think that might be a different species.
fair.
But yeah, I feel like, isn't it as far back as they can go in fossils? The great white is the same,
Damn.
right?
Fuck. I mean, yeah, it is like, yeah, it doesn't need to change.
So why don't you like them?
They're scary.
Yeah, they are.
That's why I don't like going in the ocean.
Really?
Freaking great whites. I'll deal with any other shark. I do not. It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen the videos of the great whites jumping?
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, that's just not
James, I
fair.
think everyone has seen
It's-
those videos. That's like 10 years ago,
Yeah,
buddy.
I know. I just feel like
Shark Week.
yeah.
Um,
I feel like that's not fair when it's like, oh, they can hit me in the air now.
yeah, and like knock the wind out of me and probably knock me unconscious. And,
Now, see, we're giving too much credit to their stupid shark brains.
yeah.
Remember, you've got the best brain on the planet.
Do we? Do I?
You do, Jimmy.
I don't know. I worry about dolphins too.
Dolphins are weird.
Dolphins are perverted and creepy sometimes.
I read something the other day, which was like, "Are you okay?"
We have a little fly.
Oh, okay.
My window's open.
Uh,
They smelled the bacon.
I read something the other day, probably on Reddit, that was that was like a great white shark does what it needs to do to survive. That's all that it knows is like eating, and it survives. But dolphins have been proven to like be intelligent enough to know the difference like between pleasure and pain, or
Yeah.
like that sort of thing. So dolphins are making the decision to be assholes, which
Like an orca.
which is a little more frightening than a
Yeah,
great white shark.
fuck yeah, it is.
Right.
Because orcas are dolphins and not whales. So
What?
Yeah, you can look at that. I wanted to be a zoologist my whole life until I got to college, and I was like, "That's the workload. All right, I'm gonna be a history major." I was hanging out with the wrong people, and I was fucking lazy. I'll be the first to admit it. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with a zoology bachelor's degree? I'm going to have to.
Did you catch that?
I almost did.
Uh-huh.
I caught a mosquito earlier. I'll catch it. But yeah, I was like, I pretty much have to get a master's or a doctorate for me to be able to like use this.
Yeah.
Like zoology. I should have done it in retrospect, but yeah, they're dolphins. They're not whales.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your history major?
It was general history, so
Okay.
you just had to learn a little bit about everything.
Bachelor's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bachelor's. But I took more classes, American history and Latin American.
Oh, cool.
Which I like 18th century and to present, like 20th century a lot, like especially like Central America.
Yeah.
All the coups and civil wars and that kind of stuff.
What's your favorite coup?
My favorite coup?
Yeah.
I've never had that question. I'm going to ask you the same, so get ready.
Oh, I don't have an answer. My favorite coup is the American Revolution.
Ooh. Thank you, Patriots out there. Probably maybe Chile, 1973.
Okay.
Because it was such a clear America and America just trying to have as much control down under in South America as possible. Whereas
That's not the down under.
that's our down
not
under.
the down under.
That's our down under. South of the Caribbean, Miami, Florida.
This is a fight that I will not have with you on air.
Really?
Okay, let's do it.
I should do a poll once I post this.
Sure.
So
This will be the third time that you've polled this question, and
one of these days I will get someone on my side. So we don't have to get into it because we've argued this for a good 15, 20 minutes. But James and I are in the disagreement that Miami is in the Caribbean Sea, in the Caribbean region.
And it is 100% not, according to me. It is not a Caribbean city.
It is south of some of the Bahamas.
I don't care.
The Bahamas are 100% in the Caribbean.
There are parts of the United States that are north of parts of Canada.
Yes.
Would you call that Canada?
No, but Canada is a country. The Caribbean is a region.
There are parts
Like
of...
Hawaii is part of... Is it part of Polynesia?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there we go. Polynesia.
Don't say that like it proved something.
Alaska... Is some of Alaska in Asia? Does part of Russia overlap with...
Yes, it does, because the Alaskan archipelago...
Oh.
Archipelago?
I thought it was archipelago. Fuck, that is a tough word.
The Alaskan Islands.
Is it the Aleutian, or are those the ones that go down south?
I think they are the Aleutian Islands, where they go... Like, they stretch so far west that when you, like, look at a map, a very... American-centric map.
Yeah.
They like wrap all the way around to the other side of the map. I remember because I had a teacher once that was like, "Did you know that Alaska is the most northern, western, and eastern state in the United States?"
Shut the fuck up. That's what I'd say. Fuck you. That's stupid. If I'm looking on a flat map and I'm not a flat earther, but I would need a flat map, you got to pick one.
Right. Yeah. You can't have it both ways.
That's stupid as hell.
Yeah, because otherwise I can be like, well, look at how far west Maine is.
Yeah.
I just got to keep going around.
Can you
until
tag him on this? I'm going to come after him.
I could if I could remember who she was. But
oh, she.
Yeah.
That annoys me. Yeah, I'm excited to look at a map, a Gall Peters map.
God, I can't fucking wait to look at a map after this. It's been a fucking hour and a half since I've looked at a map.
Chomping at the bit to look at a Gall Peters projection map. And that's my favorite map.
Where's my Mercutian maps? Oh, Jesus.
I bought my little cousin who's in high school a map because he's really into geography and history. God bless him. Shout out to little Shay
Nice.
Cito.
Way to go, Shay.
Yeah, way to go, Shay. I bought him an upside down map, but with the letters are right side up, so it's cool to see the world from.
Or it's just totally arbitrary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like the size of this flag that I have. It's like 3 by 5 feet, so you can look at like, just everything upside down. It's cool.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
There
so-
are probably some crazy maps out there.
I saw this one website where you can make custom maps based on like it'll just zoom in and out of a city and it makes like a cool like kind of hipstery.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's called like craftoak.com, something like that. But you can zoom in on that, or you can make a map of like the place you were born as far as like the time, and it shows you what the stars were like above you.
Oh,
at
I
that
love
time.
that.
Yeah, so you can get an image of that.
Do you
Constellations.
do you follow astrology?
No, I do not.
I did. I was going to say it would be very out of character for you if you were like, oh yeah, well my son is in Taurus right now.
My Venus is in retrograde. You guys, I gotta leave this party. My Jupiter's all over the place. It's retrograding.
Sorry guys, my moon is setting right now.
My tidal waves are out of control. For a second, as I always do, I have to tell myself, all right, James Dugan asked me a question. Do I follow astrology? I'm like, Jim, astrology is the stuff in the newspaper, and astronomy is the study of stars and space. And then the words that came out of my mouth was, no, I do not follow astrology, remembering what it was. Because I always get them so, I'm like, wait, which one is it? Cool, we got it.
would have loved if you were like, no, I don't follow astronomy. And yes, I know which one I'm talking about. I think that those scientists are making it all up.
But I love Tom Hanks.
Right. What does that have to do?
He's in all the, Tom Hanks.
He's like in space movies.
He does, he did Apollo 13, ever heard of it?
Heard of it.
And then he did, what's that one show that it was like HBO
From
series.
Earth to the Moon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember he got into his like space phase, and then he got into his World War II phase after Saving Private Ryan.
That's right.
Because
Yeah.
he produced Band of Brothers.
Yeah. Man, Tom Hanks, he can't miss. That Thing You Do, he wrote that.
Fuck. Did he really?
He wrote that and directed it.
No fucking way.
Yeah, I think it's the only movie he's directed.
Very cool.
Right?
That's such a
Well, I guess
fun-
maybe like Band of Brothers would count, but yeah.
Did he direct that, though, or just produce?
Probably directed a couple episodes of it.
I don't know.
But yeah, That
That's
Thing
a
You Do.
Great series. I love that.
That's
The
such a
fucking song is perfect.
It's such a fun movie.
Yeah.
You know who wrote that song?
I don't.
Fountains of Wayne. Stacy's mom.
Has got it going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great song, too.
Yeah.
Fuck, I did not know that.
Yeah. Or maybe like the bass player from Fountains of Wayne. Or I don't know if the whole
Wow.
band is responsible for it.
I love when movies write like period piece songs from like to the 2000s, but writing like a 1960s like Motown song. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that's how you do. It's so cool that like, oh yeah, this is how you would write a song like that.
Yeah.
But like in modern times.
And it's such a catchy
Yeah.
like pop song, but it's so perfect because you're not sick of the song by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And that is all that they play
Yeah.
in the movie.
Yeah. It's such a like tongue in cheek. Like, yeah, this is what they were literally doing.
Yeah.
It's just playing this one song pretty much. Like La Bamba, like Richie Valens'
Oh
hit.
God, yeah.
Yeah. His brother just passed away. If you remember the movie, did you ever see the movie with Lou Diamond Phillips?
No, I haven't seen.
So his brother plays a kind of big part in it, Bob, but his real life brother just passed away like Monday, I want to say.
Richie Valens' brother.
Yeah.
did? Okay.
Bob
Valens?
No, it was different dads. It was like
Oh.
Bob Gutierrez or Vasquez, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think he really did anything. Like he was in the movie, he's just kind of like just a bum.
Oh.
Yeah. He's got a great opening scene because he's riding a Harley, and it's coming out to, is it Bo Diddley who sings George Thorogood covered it. Not Bad to the Bone, but Who Do You Love?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think Bo Diddley originally did it. It's a cool scene.
Nice.
Yeah.
What else, huh? What's going on with you? What are you doing today?
What am I doing today? I have a show. Well, not a show. I'm hosting Dang Hot Bits at midnight.
Hell yeah, dude.
Other than that, I had a long work week. I work 50 hours at an office, and then I
Ouch.
do tours. So I did a tour last night.
Of what?
I do the walking tours. So I do Riverwalk walking tour, and then I do a ghost tour. So I have 2 of those tomorrow night.
You're using your history degree.
Bingo, bango. Yesterday, I did.
This is the Sears Tower. Let me tell you about my favorite coup.
Crazy thing, what was going on when this was finished in 1963 is a little war called Vietnam, and it's one of my top 10 favorite U.S. wars.
Let me set the scene for you. Huh? It ain't me. It ain't me.
Shout out to John
Fogerty. Did you not know his last name? Were you just
honest to
setting
God,
me up there?
I pimped you out. That's what I
Okay,
did.
cool.
I was about to say John Cougar Mellencamp. I'm like, no, that's just John Cougar Mellencamp. It's John Fogerty, duh. And then his brother Dan, right, was in the band.
Yeah. That band only was around for 3 years. Can you believe that?
Bullshit.
CCR existed for 3 years.
Really?
They wrote so much music.
They have maybe the best like greatest hits compilation.
It's great, yeah.
like them and Queen.
Oh, God, Queen is so good.
Yeah, I'm starting to listen to more Queen albums, and they're great. But for some reason, I always just thought they're like, they're just a 12-hit wonder band.
12-hit wonder?
You know what I mean?
Whatever. These guys only had 12 chart-topping hits.
Whatever. But like, I feel like they're one of those bands that like their albums aren't, or they're a band that their albums aren't revered as like Led Zeppelin. Like, oh yeah, Zeppelin 1's great, Zeppelin 2, 3, 4, Physical
For
Graffiti.
sure, yeah. It's actually, it's hard to make a greatest hits of Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I think there is one. It's like Mothership, I think is the name of it.
Recently came out.
Yeah.
5
But
years ago.
it's hard to make. It's the same with like the Beatles, where you can't make a greatest hits of the Beatles. It has to be. It has to
30
be like
songs.
Yeah. Well, it's like it was one was their greatest hits, which was just these are all their songs that went to number 1 on the chart.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's especially with like Zeppelin, they weren't really like hits. They were just like, except for like Stairway, like everything else. I bet you no one can like like an average Joe would be like, oh yeah, there's like all these Zeppelin songs.
I tell you what the other crazy thing about Zeppelin, and I was told this by it was Paul Grandi, who he was like, I could never get into Zeppelin because the names of their songs are never in the song. So
Black
like I would
Dog.
hear it on the radio and then I wouldn't know what song of theirs I liked.
Yeah.
Like I would go to a record store and be like, I don't know. Like
That's it?
which I thought was like really interesting that
Yeah.
that is never a problem that we're going to have. We will always know what the name of a song is.
Well, I don't know now. So I've talked about this a billion times on this podcast, but I feel like the bands that I've listened to since having like Spotify and Apple Music, I don't remember as well as when I was a kid. And like, I'm going to go buy this CD of Kylesa, and it's Static Tensions, came out 2009.
Kylesa.
Yeah.
Another poster behind you. Are you Kaiser Sosaying me through this whole thing? Are you just looking at things in the room and constructing a story?
Whoops. But yeah, it's like this new band. I think she's called Anna of the North or Anna of the Great White North. So it's like you hear something and then you like sound hound it or Shazam it.
Yeah.
And then you like download it and then you forget about it and you're like, oh, I recognize the album. That's it. Boom, 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 and you listen to it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's not like people ask me, what do you listen to that's new? I'm like, I have to just show you on my phone because I don't know what they're called. And that's embarrassing.
Interesting.
Is that just me?
No, because I've got I like. Do you know Brian Fallon?
Mm-mm.
He's a musician,
Okay.
not a person that we would be interacting with.
Okay.
But
Z.io?
might be. But he's somebody that I heard some of his music on my Discover Weekly,
Okay.
and I was like, oh, I'll check this out, and like have listened to all of his albums now. But what was another one? Oh, Foxy Shazam. Do you know
Sounds
that
familiar.
band? I heard one song of theirs on my Discover Weekly, and I was like, this sounds great, and I listened to that whole album, and I loved it. And then I
Yeah.
listened to their other albums, and I'm like, these other albums suck. I can't get into
Right.
anything except this one album of
Yeah.
theirs. Yeah.
There's right now, I'm trying to think of a guy. You might know him. He passed away, I want to say like 2 years ago, and he didn't get like soul and like kind of like R&B blues singer. And he passed away like I want to say 2015, but he didn't get big until he was in his like 60s and 70s.
Oh.
And he released an album that sounds like it came from the straight up 60s. And I'm like, it's one of those things where I downloaded it and now I don't know. Like, I'll show you the album. Like, oh yeah, maybe I think his name starts with a C. Like, that's as far as I can go.
Oh.
Maybe I just have too much coming in. You know,
I think that is very true.
and I think that's just everyone where it's like so much availability and like, oh, what shows are you watching? Oh, I don't know. I just like remember what the screen tells me and then I just go to it. So.
Yeah. We just get whatever we want now.
Yeah.
Like if we see a movie trailer and we don't like it, then there can be enough of an outcry that the studio goes, well, we got to change it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have too much power, or
I
maybe just enough.
I'm going to go the former. We have too much. I always think about how kids today and future generations.
Yeah, I'm worried that that's what this is coming across as.
Probably. I mean, it's natural.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be able to experience, like with anything as times change, but like hearing a song on the radio that you love. Because no one listens to the radio anymore. Everyone just like, that's the song I want.
Yeah.
It's like when you like someone and when you like really like someone, it's like you hear the song that you played and you're like, yeah, hell yeah. But when you hear it and you're not expecting it, it just like hits you and you're like, oh, fuck, I love this song on the radio. This is Bruce Springsteen song.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're playing Dancing in the Dark. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to just like, oh yeah, here it is.
Yeah, and just being like, oh, this is what I needed right now, and I didn't even know it.
Exactly.
Man. Did you see the movie 8th Grade, the Bo Burnham movie?
No.
Oh. I think it might still be out right now, but it's all about this 8th grade girl and just kind of her experience right now. And watching it, I was so relieved that social media wasn't a thing when I was in middle school. That, like, because a lot of it is her, like, on Instagram or making YouTube videos or, like, Snapchatting people. And it's the same story as every teenage movie where it's this person trying to be cool and trying to get in with the cool crowd. But now she's doing it on social media. And I was like, I had such a hard time socializing as a teenager.
Yeah.
I can't imagine if I also had to do it on the internet at the same time.
What's my brand on the internet?
Exactly.
Fuck.
As a 12-year-old,
Yeah.
what was I doing?
You have
with
no
my
brand.
braces.
Yeah. I look at my cousin's Instagram because my mom was like, please follow them. they're quadruplets. And she's like, you're
Wow.
hurting. Yeah.
And you only followed 2 of them?
One. No, I follow 4 of them, but all 4. My mom was like, you're hurting their feelings. They follow you. They want you. I'm like, I really don't. Like, all right, I'll follow them, whatever.
Yeah.
I try not to follow family and stuff like that. But I followed them and like, they're just posting photos of the sunset like every day with like some inspirational quote or like lyrics from a song that I don't know because I'm too far removed from like the trap music that they listen to, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like all these kids, they just have their parents and their parents' car. So like they drive to school, they go home, like their like availability of like stuff is just, or especially like photos, is either just going to be of them or their immediate surroundings, which isn't interesting. They're not able to travel. They're too young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not able to go out and explore the city. So like that's what kids nowadays do is it's just like they post like, nah, I'm upset about something or I'm really happy with my girl. I'm like, this isn't cool or interesting.
Well, not to us.
It's not to anyone. Once they get older,
I don't know. I think it's
too much power.
changed. I think it's really changed because I would say, like, I bet you the stuff that when I came home and I talked to my mom and dad about, like, I don't know. I don't think that Christine likes me as much as I like her. And I saw her with this guy over there and everything. And I'm sure my parents were like, oh, you are 15 years old and nothing matters. Like, I couldn't care less about who you're jealous of and all that.
Oh, wow, James.
But like, yeah, and it's got to be, and I think that's just the same. We're just seeing it on the internet now.
True.
And more of us are seeing it. And that's why we're like, you don't know. Like, you're going to grow up. But it is. It's super important to them. They're at a point in their life where we're like being an individual and showing what you are, showing your brand is like wildly important.
Yeah.
And we just have a new way of doing it that is annoying us older people.
Fair.
Because we don't care about their personal journey right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if making it like, which it will never happen, but you have to be like 18 to be on social media.
Ooh, interesting.
Because like I remember
the old Facebook rules.
Yeah, so like I went to private Catholic high school and you had to wear a uniform.
Yeah.
And you had like 3 different colors of a polo option, and that was for men and women, or boys and girls, whatever. And then you like, you know, you wear like slacks, and then that was it. You can wear whatever kind of shoes you want, but like that was the uniform. So it was like a pressure was relieved. Yes, we all looked the same, but it was also just like, oh, I don't have to worry about like having a cool shirt or whatever because like the cool guy over there is wearing the same thing I am.
Right.
So it's like, do we have to have these kids on? Like, I don't know. I see my cousins, they're on it all day long because they have nothing else to do in their home. They don't do like anything.
But what would you have done?
Exactly. But that's where it's like, it's got to come, there's got to be some responsibility. Like, if I have the world at my fingertips, I'm like, they're just going to, I don't know. I guess that's just where our society's going to go.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I think about a lot is if I was a 8 or 9 year old with the internet in my room, what are the things that I would have Googled?
Yeah.
And not even like, because I probably would have been like, what do boobs look like? But
At 8?
I don't know. Maybe.
Hell yeah.
But also, just when you're young, you don't know so much,
Sure.
and there are a lot of, at least like when I was growing up, there was the kind of an element of like you could ask questions, but there were certain things where it's like, oh, we don't want to talk about that, or you know. But if I had a device that could answer any question that I had, like how do kids still believe in Santa Claus?
Yeah.
When you can go on the internet and Google, is Santa Claus real?
Yeah.
And like, how do you
Look up the story, the
Right.
folklore.
Yeah. Or just, I would love to know what kind of questions kids have that they are
Sure.
asking in the privacy of their own like room.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's probably something stupid, but
I mean, I wonder if anything beats the internet for just like, if you look at a shift in humanity and like on a philosophical level, like does gunpowder beat the internet?
it's got to be like the printing press is the only other thing. The only other thing that made information
Well, I just mean like
that available.
Not even just as far as like a society culturally, like just the impact on the human race.
Mm-hmm. And I still think printing press might be just because like printing press allowed information to be disseminated so easily
Sure.
that suddenly like everybody could learn different things and could like learn what they wanted. Although I guess like printing press was what, 1500s?
Yeah.
And then Industrial Revolution wasn't until the 1800s. When was gunpowder though? Because gunpowder, like the Chinese had gunpowder forever.
There's a couple like Jesus Christ is a big one just because of Christianity's impact on the world.
Yeah.
Positive or negative. Columbus arriving to the new world and like, did you listen to? I don't know if you listened to Joe Rogan's podcast, but he had Neil deGrasse Tyson on there.
Oh, cool!
And he had he's like, when you think about it, yes, Columbus was a terrible person.
You're kind of doing a Neil deGrasse Tyson voice. Did you realize that you did that?
am?
Yeah.
Have I been, or just right now?
No, just right now. It felt like you kind of dropped into his voice for a second there.
Cool. All right, Jim. Astronomy is, but he talks about yes, Columbus was a terrible person, but he is responsible for reuniting the human race as a whole. So, like up until that point, once the final ice age that we had seen as humans had ended after like the Mongolians crossed, the Bering Strait into America, into the Americas, and then it melted, so they were isolated from the rest of Europe, Asia, and Africa. So he says it was one of, if not the most like important moments in human history where Columbus arrives and suddenly Europe, Africa, and Asia are now reunited with the Americas. So like before that, we were able to like move around and then we got cut off. So it's like such a significant moment for better or worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like that moment is so important. So that's why I'm going through like gunpowder, internet, printing press, industrial revolution, Christianity, a lot of big ones.
Yeah. Man, but can you imagine if it had been an actual good person instead of Columbus? Like, can you imagine if, like, Martin Luther King Jr. had been the first person to...
I'm going to get on a boat with a bunch of guys and we're going to see what's out there.
Right. If it had been somebody who was, like, looking to really unite or somebody who got here and, like, realized how big of a discovery it was and used it for good...
Now, would everyone else in the scenario be good? Because, I mean, slavery was already around.
Yeah. I mean,
Just one good guy?
I guess what I'm saying is can you imagine what history would have been like if history was better?
Oh.
And I guess it would have been better.
Yeah.
Is the answer.
You ever wonder if JFK hadn't gotten shot?
What would have happened? I guess he would have continued to
he
be
would have
president for a few more years.
Yeah.
And then what? I don't know.
I-
Because what else? Well, let's think about it. What was JFK working on when he was shot?
He got us in the Vietnam War.
And
People forget about that.
he got us. He got us started on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
He never saw us go to the moon.
Nope.
But I guess maybe it would have just been more of this ideal. The Kennedys were supposed to be the ideal Americans, and kind of. I guess we wouldn't. Well, who knows? Probably wouldn't have had Watergate. We might not have had as much of a distrust in the U.S. government that we got towards the late 60s and the 70s.
Thank God.
Kennedy probably could have spun the Vietnam War better than Nixon did.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like proof is in the pudding on that one.
You think so?
You could try and spin it as good as you want, but eventually all these Vietnamese people are like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Leave us alone, nice guy.
Right. And
nice Catholic president.
And the veterans coming back and what happened with them.
I feel like LBJ got dealt a shit card because everyone shits on him for Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
But like, dude, like he inherited this as VP and then as president. Like, I don't know.
Is Johnson the only president who didn't run for re-election?
I think so because Roosevelt was vice president, and then after the assassination, he became president, and then he ran and like kept going and going and going.
Yeah,
I think so.
Teddy or Franklin?
Yeah, Teddy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because what McKinley? He was McKinley's vice president.
Yeah, good call. I couldn't remember.
There's a great book, Assassination Vacation, that's all about the presidents that were assassinated.
Ooh,
It's great.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, Sarah Vowell. Oh God, what's her last name?
Vougel, something like that.
Oh, I forget. She was like a Daily Show correspondent.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Nice.
Great book.
I will check it out.
Check it out, dude. I
Cool.
love history. I love presidents.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's get you out of here, buddy.
You sure? You don't want to talk about who your favorite president is?
Oh, I will go all day. I mean, we're at an hour 43, my man.
Damn. Okay, let's go out on our favorite presidents.
Easy.
All right.
The only one I like.
Yeah?
We've had one good president. I'm teasing. I think, well, I don't want to get into that. Teddy Roosevelt.
What were you going to do?
I was going to say, like, I like George Washington, but then, liberal media is going to be like, well, he had slaves.
Yeah, do you get a lot of liberal media backlash on this podcast?
The liberal and the snowflake conservatives are going to be up my ass all over this podcast. This is the only Christian anarchist podcast in Chicago, I hope. Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
He's the only guy I think I would want to have a beer with.
Dude, he would drink you under the table.
And then I'd wrestle him under the table.
And you'd lose.
Damn right.
I can beat a grizzly, but I could not beat Teddy Roosevelt.
I did say that, didn't
Yeah.
I? I kind of lost it back there, didn't I? And your favorite presidente?
Oh, man.
If you say Bernie Sanders, 2020, I'm going to lose my mind.
Dwayne Johnson, 2020.
With Tom Hanks.
Oh, that'd be great.
That's the rumor.
Those two should not be president.
Why not?
Vice president? Are you kidding me?
Cat's out of the bag now. Anyone can do it.
That's not that's not what I want the presidency to
Have
be.
you seen his smile?
The Rocks?
No. Oh, yeah. I said Barack's. The Rocks.
No, my favorite president, man, Grover Cleveland had some fun stuff. And
That's a dark horse.
Yeah. Grover Cleveland, only president elected to 2 non-consecutive terms. And also, man, John Tyler is another one who I admire him for exactly one reason, and I don't know anything else about him.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I don't know what that reason is.
I don't know anything else about him, so I would hesitate to say this in case he was a horrible, horrible person.
I don't even know who this man is.
Oh, John Tyler was William Henry Harrison's vice president.
Who the hell is William Harris?
William Henry Harrison died after 28 days in office. He caught pneumonia giving his inauguration speech and died. And
No.
yeah. He was the
No.
yeah.
This is on like, I don't know. This is like, what's that? VIP? Is that what's
Veep?
the show? Veep.
Yeah.
That feels like an episode. I don't know. Like some guy gets sick and dies. Anyways.
Yeah. So William Henry Harrison gave his inauguration speech, caught pneumonia, died 28 days later. John Tyler, he's the first president that has died in office. And there is no real set method for a new president at that point. So Congress is like, John Tyler, you are the acting president, and we're going to go figure out what to do about this. But for now, you're the acting president. Congress goes away, does their thing, and then they come back and they're like, all right, Mr. Acting President, we've decided. And John Tyler goes, that's Mr. President to you. And they're like, oh, no, you're acting president. He's like, I don't think so.
This isn't an interim belt.
I think I'm the president now. And they just were like, okay.
What?
And so it was, like, technically, it was not law that the vice president became the president until Johnson. And it had happened a couple times since then, but it was always just called, like, the Tyler precedent, that it was like, well, I guess the vice president just becomes president now.
What?
Because he was like, no, I think I'm going to be president now.
That I'm thinking of like a movie where someone just like, I'm sure there's a few examples, but like someone just shows up and like, yo, no, I'm in charge now.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something, but that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the ultimate alpha move.
Right.
Oh, no, yeah, I'm president.
Yeah.
No. We decide, no.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are good.
Right.
Let's meet tomorrow at noon. Okay.
Well, I'm busy. Well, I'm the president. Yeah.
That's insane. I'll have to read up on that.
Check it out. People would
Fuck.
send him mail, and he wouldn't respond. He wouldn't respond to any mail that was addressed to acting president.
Oh,
It was
my
he would only
God.
respond to president.
I love that.
Yeah.
So James Taylor?
John Tyler.
John Tyler.
James Taylor is the singer-songwriter.
Whenever I see your smiling face. So John Tyler's your favorite?
I don't know. I like him for that reason.
Pretty
I was
cool
really
move.
just trying to shoehorn that fact
I
into this
liked it.
podcast.
I like it. We're ending on John Tyler.
Right on.
Anything you want to plug? Shows, projects?
Every Monday night, Teens and Toots at I.O.
Lil Tooties.
Lil Tooties at 8 o'clock. And I also run the Teacher Jam every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. at I.O. So if there are any students listening to this, you can come play. Throw your name in the bucket. We'll draw some names to come up and play with us. Other than that, I don't know. That's
Cool.
it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Oh, man. Thanks so much. This has been great.
Fuck yeah.
I've had a great time. Shit, we might have like 2 hours.
Pretty much. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you again, James Dugan, for coming down to Studio 8, hanging out with me and Kyle, and laying down that tasty little podcast. Had a lot of fun. You're dead wrong when it comes to Star Wars, and I hope we can do that again. That was a lot of fun. I want to thank my sponsors. And thank you to you guys, the listeners, for tuning in, because without you, I would not get out of bed. I would continue to molt until my cocoon was dry, and then I would burst out like a moth from Silence of the Lambs and rise to the occasion and find a lamp and then get electrocuted and then probably fall...